What if nobody could see themselves? It begins in the most ordinary place, a mirror.
You walk into the bedroom, still have awake, привычно тянетесь к раковине, поднимаете взгляд, и что-то не так.
The mirror is there. The room is there. Everything is reflected exactly as it should be, except you. At first, your brain refuses to understand it. You blink, lean closer, move your head slightly to the side, expecting your reflection to appear, to catch up, to return. It doesn't. The space where you should be is empty. You step back quickly. Your heart begins to beat faster, not from fear, but from confusion so sharp it almost feels physical. You look down at your hands. They are there. You move them. They move. You exist. But the mirror disagrees. You reach out, touch the glass. Cold, solid, real. Everything reflects normally, except you. You grab your phone, open the camera, point it at yourself. Nothing. The room appears. The objects appear. But your body does not exist on the screen. For a second, you think it is a glitch, a broken sensor, something temporary. You switch cameras. Try again. Still nothing. Your mind begins to race, searching for logic, for explanation, for anything that can turn this into something normal. But then you hear something from the next room. A voice, confused. Why can't I see myself? You freeze, because it's not just you. Across the world, the same moment unfolds. People stand in front of mirrors, cameras, reflective surfaces, and see the same impossible thing. Absence. Complete, perfect, unavoidable. They exist physically. They can touch themselves. They can feel themselves. Others can see them, but they cannot see themselves. Not directly, not through reflection, not through recording, not in any way. At first, panic spreads, not because people disappear, but because they lose something they never thought about before. Self-image. The ability to confirm your own existence visually. Within hours, confusion grows. People begin testing everything. Mirrors, windows, phones, cameras. Nothing works. Every reflective surface treats you as if you are not there. And that creates a strange feeling, because for the first time in your life, you cannot verify what you look like. At the same time, something deeper begins to happen. Doubt. Not about reality, but about identity. You know what you looked like yesterday, last week, your entire life. But now, you cannot confirm it. You rely on memory, and memory is not perfect. You begin to question small details. Is your hair the same? Is your face the same? Did something change? You cannot check, and that uncertainty grows. At the same time, something unexpected begins to emerge. Dependence. People begin asking others, "What do I look like?" First, it feels simple, but the answers are not always the same. You look fine. You look tired. You look different. And suddenly, something changes, because now your appearance is no longer something you control directly. It is something you must trust others to describe. And that trust is fragile, because others may not see you the way you see yourself. At the same time, something deeper begins to shift. Self-awareness becomes external. You no longer adjust your appearance based on what you see. You adjust based on what you are told, or what you believe, or what you imagine. And that imagination begins to replace reality. People start forming mental images of themselves that may not match what actually exists. Some see themselves better, some worse, some completely differently, and without a way to confirm it, those images become real. At the same time, something unexpected begins to happen. Confidence changes, not because people look different, but because they cannot see it. Some people feel freer. Without the constant feedback of their own image, they stop overanalyzing their appearance. They move more naturally, less aware of how they look, more focused on how they act. But others feel the opposite, uncertain, disconnected. because without visual confirmation, they feel less grounded in their own identity. At the same time, something deeper begins to affect social interaction. Eye contact changes, because now you cannot see how you look when you look at someone. You cannot adjust your expression based on feedback. You cannot refine your reactions. You can only feel them, and that creates a different kind of interaction. More direct, less controlled. At the same time, something else begins to emerge. Influence, because now others define your image. Not completely, but significantly. What they say matters more. What they notice matters more. And that creates a new kind of power. Not physical, but perceptual. Because if someone tells you that you look a certain way, you have no way to fully deny it. As the first day comes to an end, as people begin to adjust to a world where self-vision no longer exists, one realization becomes impossible to ignore. You have never truly seen yourself. Not completely, not objectively, only through reflections, through interpretations, through limited perspectives. And now, even that is gone. And without it, you are left with something else. An idea of yourself, not confirmed, not fixed, not visible, just believed. And that belief may not be the same as reality. It does not stay uncertain. It becomes defining. At first, people try to replace what they lost. They rely on others, asking constantly, adjusting constantly, trying to rebuild their image through external feedback. But over time, something shifts. They stop asking as often, not because they no longer care, but because the answers begin to feel unstable. Different people describe you differently. One says you look confident. Another says you look tired. Another notices something you never thought about at all. These descriptions do not match perfectly, and without a way to confirm them, they begin to blur together. And in that blur, something breaks. The idea that there is one clear version of how you look, because now you exist as multiple interpretations. At the same time, something deeper begins to change inside individuals. Self-image detaches from reality, not completely, but enough to matter. You begin to imagine yourself more than you observe yourself. Your mind builds a version of your appearance based on memory, on assumptions, on what you want to believe. And that version becomes stronger over time because it is never corrected, never challenged, never replaced by something more accurate. And slowly, the imagined self begins to feel more real than the physical one. At the same time, something unexpected happens. Judgment shifts. People begin to care less about appearance in a direct way. Not because appearance disappears, but because it becomes harder to track, harder to control, harder to compare. Without constant visual feedback, small imperfections lose their importance. You cannot see them, so you stop focusing on them. But that does not mean appearance stops mattering. It moves from self-perception to social perception. What others see becomes more important than what you see, because you cannot see anything. At the same time, something else begins to emerge. Trust becomes visual, not your trust in others, but your trust in how others describe you. If someone tells you that you look a certain way, you must decide whether to believe them. And that decision shapes how you feel about yourself, even if you cannot confirm it. Some people begin to trust completely. Others begin to doubt everything. And that creates a divide. Not visible, but psychological. At the same time, relationships change again. Close relationships become more influential because the people closest to you become your primary source of self-image. Their descriptions, their reactions, their subtle expressions become the only feedback you can rely on. And that creates a deeper connection, but also a deeper vulnerability. Because if someone you trust changes how they describe you, it changes how you see yourself, even if nothing physical has changed. At the same time, something deeper begins to affect identity. You begin to define yourself less by how you look and more by how you act. Behavior becomes the primary way to understand who you are, because appearance is no longer accessible to you. And that shift changes priorities. People focus more on what they do, how they speak, how they move through the world, because those are the things they can feel directly. Not imagine, not guess, but experience. At the same time, something unexpected begins to happen. Freedom grows, not for everyone, but for many. Without the constant ability to observe themselves, people begin to feel less restricted by appearance. They take fewer moments to check, adjust, correct, perfect. They move through the world with less hesitation, less self-monitoring, less internal pressure. And that creates a different kind of confidence, not based on how you look, but on how you exist. At the same time, something else begins to disappear. Comparison. Not completely, but significantly, because comparison requires visibility. You cannot compare yourself to others in the same way if you cannot see yourself. You can see them, yes, but without your own image as a reference, the comparison becomes abstract, less immediate, less precise, and that reduces something, not judgment entirely, but its intensity. At the same time, something deeper begins to emerge. Identity becomes internal, not just in theory, but in practice. You are no longer constantly reminded of your physical form. You are no longer adjusting your behavior based on how you look in the moment. You are not reacting to your own reflection. You are simply acting. And over time, that creates a shift. You begin to experience yourself from the inside more than from the outside. And that changes how you define who you are. At the same time, something unexpected begins to be missed. Control. Because while freedom increases, so does uncertainty. You cannot prepare your appearance before entering a situation. You cannot correct small details. You cannot ensure that what you present matches what you intend. You must accept it, whatever it is. And that acceptance is not easy for everyone. Some people struggle with the lack of control, feeling disconnected from a part of themselves they once managed constantly. Others adapt, finding stability in the fact that they no longer need to. And in that difference, two ways of living begin to form. One that seeks control through others, and one that lets go of it entirely. As time passes, the world stabilizes again, not returning to what it was, but becoming something else. A place where identity is less visual, less external, less defined by appearance, and more connected to behavior, presence, experience. And in that new world, a final realization begins to settle. You were never exactly what you saw in the mirror. That was only one version, one perspective, one interpretation. Now, without that reflection, you are forced to confront something deeper. Who you are, without seeing it, without confirming it, without controlling it. And in that space, identity becomes something else. Not an image, but a feeling. Not something you observe, but something you live. Because when you can no longer see yourself, the only version of you that truly exists is the one you believe in,